time ago, our sun exploded. It didn't exactly fully explode, but broke apart, and when it did, shards of sun crossed the solar system and smashed into our Earth and Moon. Humanity was devastated, nearly wiped out. The moon was now stuck in the sky, a glowing pockmarked beacon of our apocalypse. But we've rebuilt. The shards of sun planted themselves into the surface and cooled. Humanity huddled around these shards, harnessing them for warmth and light, and now with the advent of the sunwells, we can tap into their near-limitless energy as well. In a twist of fate, this new source of energy is skyrocketing us forward in our tech. The cities being built around the sunwells are a hybrid of the ruins of old Earth and the technology of new Terra. We're ready to face the dark. We built powerful exosuits, fueled by the energy of the sunwells. These suits, named Sparks, are sturdy enough to explore the darkness beyond the safety of the sunwells, and powerful enough to defend themselves and us from whatever lurks out there. You are those Sparks. Old Earth is filled with ruins, and in those ruins are the tech and knowledge we need to rebuild. There are threats out there, in the dusk, that would take the sun for themselves or see it snuffed out entirely. It's time to bring a new dawn. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Evis Serrates channel where we are playing Nova. And we are joined, very fortunately, by game designer Spencer Campbell. I'll have him introduce himself in just a moment, but thank you very much for joining us here. We're very excited to try out this system. This will be an actual play of the game Nova, which is limited by the Lumen system, also created by Spencer. So I'm going to have Spencer actually introduce himself, tell us a little bit more about the game, what we'll be playing, then we'll kind of go on around and introduce ourselves. So Spencer, if you don't mind taking it away.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Spencer Campbell. You might know me under the name that I design and publish RPGs under, which is Gila RPGs. It's a long backstory as to how I got to that, but that's what I've decided on the last year and a half. Tonight, we're going to be playing Nova. Nova is a game that I created using my Lumen system, which means it's focused on being rules light, action-packed, sort of cool power fantasy combat. Specifically, the setting of Nova is one in which the sun has exploded. And that's a big bummer for humanity. But there's a slight upside to it in that shards of sunlight have slammed down into the earth, and humanity has begun to rebuild around these shards of sunlight. They provide warmth, light, and energy that we've never had access to. The players tonight are going to be what are called Sparks, these exosuit mechs that go out into the dangerous realm beyond the shards of light, into this dark, spooky region called the Dusk, searching through for ruins of old Earth for technology and information that might bring some hope back to humanity.
Awesome. I'm very, very excited. Well, since it looks like I am the top left, I guess I'll go ahead and go first. So, hi everybody, my name is Derek Sword. I am going to be playing the Pyre today. I am playing Iggy Wheeler, who will be piloting that mech, and I will hand it off to Kappa.
Hi, my name is Christian, but I go by Kappa in most online spaces. Really excited to be here. This is a really fun sneak peek into this system that's coming out. Reading it over, just very, very great vibes that I'm getting. Today I'll be playing Chan Delore, using the Scorch subclass mech that is outlined in the system that we're given. Oh, yeah, and looking at the overlay, Eva's next.
Hello, it's me, Eva. You might know me from this being my channel. Today I am happy to say I am playing Daisy Monroe, the warden, who is sort of a tanky one, and I'm very excited. Sorry, Derek. I'm not saying that we fought over who we would play today, but let's just say I won. Yeah, so Rak, why don't you go?
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Rakolai, or Rakolai. I don't really have a preference on how you pronounce it. Tonight I'll be playing Sergei Patrushev. I'll be piloting a Voyager-class Spark, kind of a recon style mech, and looking forward to playing.
Wonderful. Well, with all that said, Spencer, without any further ado, it's, I guess, your turn to do this.
All right. Well, let's just jump straight into the sort of opening scene of our show here. So we see a group of Spark pilots, the four of you sitting in a briefing room. And there's someone sort of nondescript going over a hollow map of the surrounding areas that surround the city that you will all live in. We, as the audience, don't hear distinct voices here. It's sort of muffled sounds as the camera pans across the group of you. And the camera stops at each of your faces, and we get sort of a little highlight reel of who you are, what sort of spark that you pilot, all those sort of fun facts you might get if there were trading cards would be up on the screen here. And so before we jump into anything like what is your mission or anything like that, I want to learn a little bit more about you all as pilots and the sparks that you chose. So the camera's going to stop at each of you, and I'm going to ask you a couple questions. The first and the most sort of important ones are, what is your names, which you've already sort of introduced, and the pronouns that you use. And then importantly, your call sign, which is, what do your squad mates call you when you're out on the field? They might call you what sort of spark class you are. They might call you Scorch, or you might have a unique name, for example, that you use when you're out on the field. So we're going to kind of pan over here, and we're going to start with our pyre. So I believe Iggy Wheeler is our pyre pilot. So go ahead, Iggy, what's your name, pronouns, and call sign out on the field?
Right. Iggy, well, supposed to his family, it'd be Ignatius Wheeler. He is a pyre pilot. He was attracted to it because, well, it's got a big flame sword, don't it? Hard to pass that up. But, he really got attached to his mech after a while. It's hard not to when something saves your life for that many times, but call sign Inferno, it just seemed obvious, but Iggy, he, him, to his friends at least. He doesn't have too many of those, but what do you need those for, right?
Excellent. Iggy, you mentioned that you were drawn to the pyre spark when you were sort of going up as a pilot because of the big fire sword. Is that the primary reason that you got into the pyre class spark?
To be honest, pyres were one of the first mechs built. So when Iggy was signing up to be a mech, kind of got hand-me-down more than anything else. One of the older models, but still, when you wear something for that long, it tends to grow on you. And yeah, you get attached.
Excellent. Now, you are a pyre spark, and pyre sparks are all built the same way. Much like all the sparks are built to a specific model, but a lot of pilots like to personalize theirs, do something that makes their spark model maybe look a little bit different when it's out on the field. You mentioned that yours is a little bit older. That alone might make it look unique, but Iggy, is there anything in particular that makes your pyre spark look different out on the field?
So there's definitely some worn out decals from some of the previous owners. Some things where you could tell that they had a nickname for it, or this or that, formal rankings. Iggy's just put a little bit extra paint, try to patch up some of the barrier spots, and he's messed with a few of the valves on it so that when it does ignite, it tends to ignite in certain pieces where the armor breaks. It makes it a little more intimidating.
Excellent. I'm sure you get all kinds of talking downs when you come back for repairs and stuff like that about trying to seal up those things, and you just say, no, keep it the way that it is.
It is definitely not up to code.
Excellent. So we kind of get our highlight reel of Iggy of Inferno, and we move over to our Scorch pilot. So what is your, go ahead, reintroduce your name, your pronouns, and then your call sign out on the field.
Hello. My name is Chan the Lord, and I use he him pronouns. I use the Scorch, and let me go out of order in this. Okay, my Scorch is something special. I've adjusted some of the tubing and the pipeline of the gas and of the fuel to make it burn hotter. So As a result, you get less of this orangey red flame and more of this white, blues, purples, kind of very vibrant colors coming out of my scorched mech. So as a result, people started calling me Ghost on the field. Now, they put me in this. I really wanted to be in the other mech, the one that Iggy's part of. Just has this really cool sword-looking thing, but they put me in a Scorch because it's more attuned to my tactical, look around, use the environment to my advantage. Now, if you're looking at me and in the mess hall right now, where I think we're eating right now. I'm complaining about the sausage and how it's completely undercooked, and so I have a butane lighter just roasting the shit out of this thing. Oh, it's almost burned. You're almost concerned, but at a certain point, it gets to my liking. Take a bite, big old crunch, and I'm happy.
I assume everybody at the table is used to this at this point. They've seen Ghost kind of scorch things constantly, really living up to the name. I love it. Wonderful. So we continue to kind of pan over and we see our Warden pilot. Warden, who are you? Pronouns, call sign, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm Daisy. Daisy Monroe. I got the Warden because I like to be between trouble and, I wouldn't say my friends, but like my coworkers. I like to be the first line of defense, and if that defense is a little bit of offense, that's fine too. I use she, her. I don't want to admit this, but I know you're going to ask anyway, so yeah, a lot of people call me Sugar. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be ironic, but whatever. If that's how they get their kicks, there's worse ways.
Is that the call sign folks use while you're out on missions?
Yeah, it's easier than changing their minds.
Gotcha. Okay. And what makes your Warden look different than other Wardens out there?
It's pretty scratched up, but it's just a paint job, Everything else, if you look below the paint, is slick. It is a well-oiled machine. It is high-quality parts. It is pretty clear that is where she puts a lot of time, a lot of energy.
But also a lot of time in putting the facade of the scratches and everything like that.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that on the back, like below the big helmet area, the upper bit is probably a decal of a salt shaker. I don't know who put it there, but I will find you, and we will have words.
Excellent. Wonderful. And our camera finally pans over to our last pilot for the mission tonight. We see our Voyager pilot. Voyager, what is your name, pronouns, and call sign?
Very well. I am Sergei Patrushev. Pronouns he and him. Call sign Archer. I am a Voyager class pilot. One of the first.
So you were one of the first Voyagers that was created?
Indeed.
Nice. So what, with the Voyager model, I imagine it's changed a bit since you were one of the first, as you were one of the first models. What's something that sort of denotes that you were one of the earliest models of Sparks that has been created compared to some of maybe the slicker new models that are out there?
Newer Sparks are very smooth, like aeroplane. My Voyager, not so much. Very blocky, rough, like me. Covered in full tiger stripe camouflage. Every stripe covers up a scratch from claws and teeth.
Excellent. Is the tiger stripe camouflage the standard camouflage that was used in the Voyager, or was that something that that Archer decided was going to be part of his model?
I think earlier model used digital camo. I believe that was the standard at the time.
But this is how you sort of set yours apart. Excellent. I love it. So we've met our pilots. We know we sort of see the spark sitting idly behind you as you're being briefed over about your mission. There's a holo map, like I said, of the area surrounding the city that you all live in. And there's a sort of blinking red dot a little ways off into the dusk, which is the location of the ruin that you are going to go investigate. Now, ruin is a pretty loose term here for spark duty. It could literally be like an old ruin, or it could be like a pretty up-to-date building that we just haven't reclaimed yet. You just know it's a place that needs to be investigated. And in fact, this place has a name. It's the Ebbinghaus Neuroscience Lab. And it's being lit up, and you all, especially when you're in your Sparks, you have like a HUD that gives you constant feeds of information. But this information has been handed to you via a Voyager report. Sergey is a Voyager. This class of Spark goes out and investigates the world around you and brings back maps and reports of interesting places. So another Voyager has brought back this map and says, hey, this location, the Ebbinghaus Neuroscience Lab, it's got energy signatures in it. And those signatures weren't there before. So you've been tasked with investigating this lab and basically figuring out what those energy signatures are. And then once you figure out what they are, deciding what to do with it. Once you go out into the field, into the dusk, you won't be able to be in contact sort of with the command here in the city. So the decision will be up to you to decide what you're going to do with this power source or whatever it is that you find out there. But first things first is to go out and find it. So this is that's the mission that you've been given. And I'm curious, you're all here at the briefing. Have you all worked together for a while, or is this like the first time that some of you have paired? Because I'm hearing some interesting things, like some of you are older models and then some of you are maybe newer. So how long have the four of you worked together, would you say?
I figured that I'm pretty new to the team, or at least whatever regiment we're a part of. From what I understand, the Scorch models are very new, and I imagine after some testing, they figured, let's throw this on someone that can actually utilize it. That's where I am. So I feel like I'm coming in pretty new. Maybe I've talked to some of you before, but definitely haven't been out. Maybe this is my first outing with all of you.
I feel like
I
Daisy.
think so. Go ahead, Eva.
I was just gonna say, I feel like Daisy would probably be pretty new to the group also. Like, she's probably spent more time around Sparks than actually, like, piloting one or, like, being part of, like, boots on the ground sort of thing. Like, she's only had, like, a few official, like, things under her belt.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Iggy's been around for a hot minute, but definitely not the relic that Sergey is.
I imagine since Iggy's been around for a little bit, he and Sergey might have gone on a few sorties together.
Okay. And this is maybe some of your first times working with Ghost and with Sugar.
Mm-hmm.
I'll switch back and forth between your pilot names and your call signs as we're playing here. I like diving straight into things when I play Lumen games. So we find ourselves like camera cuts and we are out into the dusk. The dusk is a dangerous region. It is basically everywhere beyond the sort of light source that is these sun shards is the dusk. It is a sort of twisting and dangerous place where Voyagers are constantly going out there trying to map it. And it's almost a futile effort because things change out in the dusk so much. Oftentimes finding key locations and ruins put a clock on being able to get to them and figure out what's to be done with them. That's why with this particular mission, you've been tasked with going out and dealing with the thing without reporting back to base. So you know that the location of the Ebbinghaus Neuroscience Lab is going to be where it is for at least a short period of time. And so you start heading out that way. As you are going along, you all have in the HUDs of your Sparks the Voyager report that was telling you about this particular location. Sergey, this area around this ruin in particular, this lab, is largely unscouted. Why aren't your fellow Voyagers mapping this area as actively as some of the other areas of the Dusk, you think?
I think since you mentioned that the locations tend to change over time, I feel like perhaps this area was scouted previously, but because of some kind of change either in the terrain or seismic activity, certain landmarks might have shifted around or just be missing altogether. So now all of our intel that we had on this area is out of date.
Gotcha. So it is something that's possibly been super mapped before, but it's impossible to tell until you get to it. Excellent. Ghost, you're really state of the art compared to a lot of the other Sparks. A lot of people look at Scorch bottles and think that they can do magic, essentially, compared to what some of the other Sparks are capable of. And so you are attuned to science and technology and things like that. This is a neuroscience lab that's lighting up in the middle of nowhere, essentially. Do you have any particular theory as to what might be going on in there?
Yeah. My guess is some sort of radiation or something is blocking the signals that our normal equipment are tasked to detect, and it's blocking out all the sensors, all the stuff, and we need people to actually get eyes on what's going on here instead of using their equipment.
So this is one of those times where we can't count on tech. We got to just get our actual eyes there to check it out. Excellent.
Exactly. Yeah.
Daisy, this power source, that whatever's lighting up this lab, it's going to need to be contained and transported back to the city if that's what you all decide to do. Doing so, as a warden, as somebody who's typically tasked with protecting the squad, that could be a very dangerous task to take on. When push comes to shove, are you the sort of warden that will take that risk with the squad's safety? Or are you one to prioritize the safety of the squad at the detriment maybe of gaining access to this technology?
Look, we were all hired for a reason, right? At the end of the day, these things are important that we're investigating, and I trust my teammates to be able to, I'm there to protect them too, but they're not just standing around. They've got access to some defenses.
All right, excellent. And lastly, Pyre, aka Inferno, everybody else is looking at their reports, but you've closed that out in your HUD because you've noticed something. There's a lone figure off in the distance that has been following you the short time that you have been traveling. And none of your squad mates have seemed to notice that. They're all enamored with the reports, trying to get a hold of sort of what to expect with this mission. But you've tracked this person, and they're tracking you. What are you going to do about it?
So Iggy is already grabbing at he has a number of actual tactile weapons that kind of ignite when he chooses to do so. And there's not a lot of things you can trust out in the dusk. They're following from behind?
Yeah, they kind of lag behind. They occasionally might get to your sides, but they certainly have never been in front of you. But you've sort of noticed them flipping at the very edges of your radar, and you're the one to actually lay eyes on it.
Okay. I think do they have comms, just mech to mech kind of comms?
Yeah, we'll assume that you all can communicate like that.
All right. I think he's just gonna say over comms, just heads up, everyone. Don't think we're alone. And he's gonna try to kind of hang back just a little bit and see if he can maybe get close enough to where he could potentially catch this person off guard. And if he gets within
numbers,
just one so far, nothing we can't handle.
Very well.
Okay.
Stay alert.
So do the three of you kind of keep carrying on with your pace while you see Iggy kind of lag behind, or?
I'm gonna slow, unless Iggy's trying to be stealthy, I will slow my pace a bit.
He literally ignites into flame. His stealth is not.
Okay, so you're a big bonfire out in the dusk right now.
Yeah, he's not currently ignited, but like when he goes to do the thing, there's light coming off of this mech. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the dusk is such a sort of, you know, it's an eternally dark place. The sky isn't pitch black. It's sort of this like constant hazy purple dusk, hence the name of the place. So it's not as if you are in pitch black, but yes, any sort of illumination certainly kind of sticks out as a sort of beacon. And so yeah, this individual, they don't close the distance or anything. They Iggy, you've been noticing that they've been following you, and if you slow down, they slow down, and if you stop, they stop, sort of thing.
All right. Well,
Daisy's gonna turn and wave.
why?
They obviously see us, like...
They didn't know that we saw. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
There's sort of this like period of like there's a long pause, and then just a very slow hand raises up off in the distance, and then it goes right back down to the side.
See? Look at that.
From where
Congratulations, you made a friend.
From where we are, can we kind of tell like what kind of silhouette this figure has? Like, does it look humanoid?
Yeah, it looks humanoid.
Sure. And I guess in an open channel, I'll go, hey, hello. We're on official business here. You might want to get out of the way just in case, things get a little hot, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, again, there's this long pause, and then the hand raises back up and raises back or lowers back down to the side.
Oh, I don't like that. That's super creepy. I think at that, I'll ghost the flames go from this calm, warm color to just a slightly bluish tone as he's now on edge and kind of like, okay, what do we do next?
Do our sparks have like IFF tags, like so we can like identify friendlies and whatnot?
Yeah, you'd be able to sort of like tag one another, tag enemies and stuff like that, so you have a sense of who's out there.
Okay. Do we like pick anything up coming from this individual, like any sort of like electronic signal? Are they broadcasting anything?
I think especially Archer, your spark in particular is suited for identifying these sorts of things. You get the sort of signals from like a lot of electronics on this person. They're a far enough distance that you can't really identify necessarily like the purpose of them or anything like that, but you can see that they've got a lot of tech on them as far as you can tell.
Do I get the feeling that this could be another spark?
Yeah, it's entirely possible. With all the tech that you're scanning from it, it could be another spark.
Okay, I'm gonna open up a comm channel. This is Archer. Identify yourself at once.
And there's a long pause again, and then the hand goes up, and it just says, Grim.
Is that a call sign that I would recognize?
No. And then it starts walking towards you.
Great. Iggy is going to start walking towards as well. He'll have a hand on the hilt of one of his swords, but hasn't drawn it just yet. Just approaching.
Yeah. So go
what
ahead.
Range band is this individual from us right now?
They'd be considered far from you right now.
Got it. Okay.
But they'll keep walking towards you, that they can get to any band that if you're particularly waiting for them to hit a point we can certainly say that they've hit near. But for now, they're far. And, you know, Iggy, if you're going out to sort of meet them, is anybody else going with Iggy, by the way?
Yeah, I'll do the equivalent of like a spark shoulder roll and like heft my shield and just sigh and follow after.
While they're going up to meet this individual, I'm gonna kind of do start doing a sweep of the area just to keep an eye out for anyone else who might be coming, just in case we get some more friends.
Yeah, Sergey, how about you give us a roll here just to see how you do, just to see what you can find. So for those who are watching at home and following along, Nova uses a D6 dice pool. So, and rather than having lists of skills and things like that, instead, these are sparks. They are incredibly powerful pieces of technology. They can do most things. So what's more important is how they're doing things rather than what they are doing. And so we describe it based off of the attribute, which in this game are sun, moon, and shade. Sun is for when you're doing big, powerful, emotive things, enduring with strength. Moon is when you're moving quickly and reflexively, acting in a moment's notice. And shade is when you're being more methodical or practiced with your approaches. To me, this sounds like you are sort of investigating, kind of doing a slow scan of the area. So maybe this would be a shade roll as you investigate the area around you.
Right. Let's roll the die. I got a 2, and my shade is 2.
So the way that it works is we keep the highest die of your roll here. So is it 2 the highest die that you got?
How many die do I roll?
You roll 2d6. Sorry,
2. Okay.
Yes, you're gonna roll 2. You're gonna roll a d6 for every point of the stat you have.
Okay, so I got a 2 and a 5.
Excellent. So we keep the highest roll, and the 5 determines your success. And in this case, a 5 or 6 is a full-blown success. It means you are doing the thing with no consequences or complications. Yeah, Archer, you absolutely notice more signatures now are starting to appear in a circular formation around you. The same sort of text signatures that you were seeing, that you were reading on this individual are now kind of pinging in a circle that is just sort of like forming and closing around you.
Do I get a sense of how many there are?
Yeah, there are 5 of them.
Including the other person, or?
Including the one that is currently coming to chat with Iggy.
So it's 5 total?
Yes.
Okay. So I will, on a closed comm with the fire team, I will say, be advised. Additional contacts are closing in. We are being flanked.
All you get back from Daisy is just another big sigh.
I think with that, Ghost will kind of turn around, back up a little bit closer to the rest of the group, and start to ignite blues, whites, purples from the various vents, and as a way to sort of the idea is to intimidate, like yeah, the idea is to back, like if they're approaching, hold on a second, back off.
Yeah, as far as you can tell, they are unfazed by this this display, and you know, at this point, Daisy and Iggy, you're close enough now to this other thing. It's probably at a near distance to you, and it's got its hands raised. And at this distance, you notice that it is it's humanoid in shape, but from what you can tell, is either an incredibly sketchy spark, or is much more likely some sort of like old mechanical robotic frame of some kind, like purely a machine rather than necessarily a human inside of it. And it's walking towards you with the hand out, still raised, and it has these kind of dimly glowing green eyes, and it just says, "We are grim," as it's walking towards you.
This bodes well, right?
He's just gonna put up a hand, just hold there, mate. Just go and state your purpose. We don't know Grim.
Yeah, it stops. It looks at its hand. It closes the hand, and then it points at you. You are Grim. And then it starts walking towards you again.
Nope. Is there any way to get like life signs off of these things?
Yeah, there are no life signs at this distance. You can read that they are purely mechanical.
How close are we to the lab?
You're still a little bit of a trek away. It would be a long, long sprint if you were to try and just book it.
Okay.
But if maybe Archer led the way as a Voyager, he might be able to get you there in a shortcut sort of fashion.
Just over the comms, Iggy's going to go, all right, quick vote, fight or flee. All in favor of fight? Aye.
I think Shan's not even gonna vote. He's going to activate his kindling ability. Choose a number of targets up to your sun, which is 2. At any range, enemies take 1 harm, allies recover 1 health or fuel. So the one that's closest to Iggy and Daisy, and then the closest one that has shown up directly in front, directly, I guess, in the back, I guess.
Okay. What does it look like when you kind of activate your kindling power? Is it just basically like people around you just start igniting? So what does that look like specifically with you?
Yeah. So if you're like, I'm gonna use the artwork here. One of the tendrils with flame kind of just show up in front, and then he'll grab just like from it two columns of flame and then throw it in both directions.
Nice. So yeah,
it comes down like a lob, yeah.
Oh, nice. So it's a perfectly thrown lob that just like slams into these 2 frames, and the one that is closest to Daisy and Iggy, it staggers from the flame, and you can just see now completely lit up this sort of chrome face, the green eyes piercing through the flame. It continues to point at you. And now has like a slight wobble to its step, but it continues to walk in your direction. Ghost has activated combat for you all, so we're going to jump into some Nova combat. How it works is that all the players get to take a turn, and they can move and do an action during their turn. It could be using their cool powers that their sparks are good at. It could be doing other things as well. And then when all the players are done, I get to do my turn. So I'll let you all go ahead and do your stuff first. And I will say, Ghost, since you did that, you do have an opportunity to move if you're interested. I don't know if you want to go anywhere, but I just want to make sure that offer's there.
Great. Yeah, no, I'll make sure that I'm not too close to my allies, because like the suit can do some really cool stuff. But I will say, you don't want to be too close if you're a friend.
Perfect. Excellent. So you all see Ghost kind of pop this off. And so who wants to take the next action here as these mechanical frames now begin to close the gap?
Hey, fire buddies. Yeah, so with that, Iggy's just going to go ahead and draw his sword. He's got kind of like a hand and a half, like bastard sword sort of thing. And when it fully ignites, the rest of like the valves and everything kind of decompress and ignite as well. And he's got this kind of flame mohawk, and the gauntlets kind of ignite in what almost look like little spikes. He's got a very like London punk sort of thing going to his mech that he's fitted it to. And he is going to dash, because is he within near?
Yeah, this machine is within near of you.
Okay, then yeah, he's going to basically draw his sword, dash, and try to do like a kind of upswing on it and try to slash it apart.
Nice. How much does your dash do in terms of harm?
2 harm to a close target, 3 harm if you moved. So he is trying to move and then dash, essentially.
Excellent. And one thing folks at home might be noticing, and that you all as players will notice, that when you use powers, you don't need to roll dice. You just get to do the cool thing. It's the press the cool thing button that you get to do all the time in this. We only roll dice when we're doing things that aren't our powers and that there's some sort of risk or complication. So Iggy, you just do the thing. And this is enough damage to just cut down this particular frame. What does it look like as you close the gap on it? Because it had already been lit aflame by your buddy Ghost.
So yeah, fully illuminated. I mean, this thing just a beacon. just finishes the job with this upswing, kind of cuts it directly up the middle to where it's still like searing just a little bit as it cools and just falls into two pieces on the side. And then he's just kind of going to spin around and try to take a look at the other targets in the area.
Yeah, you can see sort of in a mostly semicircle formation in front of you from the position you're at, the 4 other mechanical frames starting to close in towards your friends. Daisy or Sergey can take the next action.
I do want to ask real quick, does that use fuel?
It does, yes. So when you use a power, mark one of your fuel, and I'll show you how you get that stuff back in just a moment.
Nifty.
All right. So
Sorry,
I
Racco.
will go first. On Sergey's spark, you see a kind of like where the eyebrow ridge on a human would be. There's like a big plate of armor that like folds down in front of the face, and there's like a camera lens in it. And he's going to activate his marked ability. So at the start of my turn, I can mark any 2 enemies, and marks will remain until they've been used. And I'm going to mark the remaining frame that Chandler eliminated. And then I think I'm gonna mark one of the approaching frames that's like directly behind me as well.
Cool. So you activate this camera and you paint these targets, and all of your friends sort of have the added benefit of just like on their HUDs that you have these like slightly now glowing beacons of these targets that that Archer has kind of lit up and painted for you. So what do you want to do during your turn now that you've marked these foes?
So during my turn, I'm going to use my seek power. So what happens is I'm going to kind of point my right arm at the illuminated target, so the one that's currently like lit up and marked, and he's going to fire a small dart from like a compartment in the forearm, and it's going to like stick in there, and until the start of the next round, that target is going to take +1 harm from all sources.
Nice. So you all see, like, not only were these marked targets glowing, there's one of them that is just like beep beep. This is the one. Kill this one. On your HUDs. Excellent. Do you want to move at all, or are you good with sort of where you're at?
If there's a place that like I could potentially find cover, I will move over there.
Yeah, right now,
like rock outcroppings or
there's sort of like scattering rocks and stuff like that you can kind of quickly scramble behind if you want to get behind one.
Cool, I will do that.
Excellent. Daisy, you are going to round out the spark turn here. What would you like to do? You've got a couple of glowing frames in front of you, and 2 others that aren't glowing.
So from my position, if they're in a semicircle, is it possible to line 2 of them up?
Yeah, absolutely. You could like move over accordingly and get 2 of them in a line.
Yeah, ideally the 2 marked ones, but I would like to aim for the like specially marked one. And
Sure.
I would like to just kind of hunch down like a linebacker. I don't know sports. That seems like the position I'm thinking of. And and just charge that one using my bull ability.
Nice.
And any enemy in my path takes 1 harm.
Nice. So yeah, you charge like a linebacker in lining up 2 of these. And you just slam into the especially lit one, and it just goes like flying up in the air. I mean, what does it look like when you explode this robot essentially with the sheer force? Because it has been marked, seeked for death.
I feel like she's treating it like it would be super heavy. Just I don't know what these things are. They could be anything. So the follow through, she almost staggers because she didn't expect that little resistance. So just smashes her shoulder straight into it, and almost kind of stands back surprised that it's no longer there.
Yeah, this thing just kind of gets disintegrated by the force of your blow, especially because, yours, even if you're not aware of it, like your HUD has been highlighted, like the the weak point of this frame because Archer has highlighted it with the marking and seeking, and so your body just hits that weak point, and this thing explodes into a shower of chrome and wiring. So this thing dies. The other one you smash into, it doesn't die. So you only killed the especially lit one. The other one takes some damage. It gets knocked over, and it looks at you, and it's just like the beady green eyes are staring at you. And now that all the players have gone, it's my turn. And how the GM turn works is that I activate the enemies. I do some cool things with their moves. And then in a very video game style thing, I create drops out of the dead bodies of the enemies. They just kind of drop health and fuel like a video game that you can just gobble up to replenish your resources. So that's how the Lumen system works in terms of leaning into that power fantasy. So the remaining sparks that are next to you, Daisy, the one that is next to you, it's staring you down at such a close range, and it kind of points both hands in your direction, and the fingers like open up, and these long tendrils shoot out, and they just wrap around your arms and your legs, and they kind of lock you in place. You can feel yourself kind of like struggling to move as it wraps you up. It's not like hurting you, but it's trying to clearly restrict you and keep you to a particular location. The other two, they stop advancing on the group. They kind of stop in their tracks, and then they also raise their hands forward. And this time, rather than a cabling firing out, these like laser beams, these green laser beams go shooting across the field here. And Archer, you're behind a rock, and so you feel your rock just kind of like just starting to disintegrate. Your cover is starting to go, and Ghost, you get ting, 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 a few of these lasers hit you, and you're going to take 1 harm from the laser barrage from these creatures.
Now who was that? Who took harm?
Yes, Ghost took it. Now I'm going to generate the drops, and you all can decide who wants the stuff that comes out of these. A bit of health, 1 health, and 1 fuel drops out. You all get to decide who wants to take it.
I think Ghost is the only one who's taken damage so far.
Yeah. Chan gets that health.
Yeah, I'll take a health. And I'm pretty good on fuel. I can also, if one of my passive abilities, I can change 1 drop type to the other. So, just for future reference, if we're like, we need fuel and we have health, I can change 1 of those. But yeah, I'll take a health.
Personally think that Daisy should get the fuel, considering the Warden has the fewest fuel slots.
I agree.
Oh, hey,
cool?
thanks. Oh, I hadn't noted
Cool.
that. I suppose that's true.
I always like to ask players what it looks like when their sparks absorb health and fuel from enemies out of the dusk, because there's nothing in the book that necessarily describes what that process is like, and it's probably different depending on the spark and the enemy. So, this is an opportunity here to just hear like what does absorbing health from these robots look like, and what does absorbing fuel from the robots look like?
Ooh,
Shan,
this is a good question. Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay. I think for fuel, my spark. This is a probable design flaw that she's thought about changing, because it kind of signals like where she is on like fuel and stuff. But it's almost like RGB lighting in the suit that like gets dimmer and dimmer as fuel is depleted. So it just like progressively like not ombre, like fades up into a brighter light.
Awesome. And what is absorbing health like for a spark out of the field?
Yeah, sure. I think one of the key features of the at least this iteration of the Scorch mech suit is that it needs to stay at some level ignited, and taking damage reduced like takes out one of the main vents or whatever, and so brings it closer to a supernova. But some debris or like from the explosion, I'm able to draw in some of that ignition and reignite one of the vents for this flame that the scorch has to constantly be at least running in the background.
Excellent. So we see the two of you, despite Daisy kind of being wrapped up, the warden suit still absorbs the fuel of the shattered robot from in your wake, and Ghost manages to suck up some of the sort of the necessary parts to keep that burn going. And now that the GM's turn is gone, I hand it back to the players. You can go in whatever order you like. Currently, there's 2 frames that are keeping their distance, firing lasers at you, and the other one has wrapped up Daisy in this sort of coiling system.
Am I... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I will kind of turn around, my visor's still down, and I will use my mark ability again, so I'll mark the remaining 2 enemies, so all targets should be marked now.
Yep.
And then I'm going to kind of stand up from behind cover, and you see I've got kind of like a backpack style armor on my back. You see like several hatches on the back open up to reveal a rack of micro missiles, and I'm going to use my destroy power. So every marked enemy is going to take 2 harm and then lose the mark afterwards.
Excellent. So this backpack opens up and we see 3 of these micro missiles kind of go zooming out. They find the marks and then they come crashing down on the frames. The 2 out in the distance, they take the damage. They don't drop. You can see that the ones that were firing the barrage, they get blasted back. They actually kind of fall into their sides. Their robotic frames are struggling to stand themselves back up. But the one that had been damaged by Daisy earlier and is now coiling her just gets obliterated by this missile, just exploded into pieces. And the wires just kind of like fall limply from you, Daisy.
There we are.
Oh no, we lost Ghost.
Oh.
I will sort that back in a second. So the one close to me is no longer...
Yeah, our Archer made sure that it just turned into an explosion of parts.
Yeah.
Are you alright, Sugar?
Yeah. Yep.
Good.
I'm fine. This is good. Let's see. Everyone's back where they ought to be. Thank you. I am going to... I'm mad about that. Thank you for the assist, Archer. I think I'm going to get as close as I can to the nearest robot, grim, whatever we're calling them. And I would like to crush them.
Yeah, you're close enough because you kind of moved towards all of them at this point with your bowl earlier that you can get up next to one of them and just pick it up and start crushing it. What does it look like when you crush this robot? Because you are going to be able to destroy it with this crush. So what does this look like?
Like I finished a soda, and just with my non-shield hand, just crumple in its head area, and I believe I can just pick it up and fling it like litter at another near location where if there is perhaps another robot enemy standing, I could maybe damage it as well.
Yeah, so you throw it at this other one, and the one that was already kind of laying on its back trying to right itself is like just as it's starting to get its footing below it, it gets hit by its buddy. It gets knocked back down to the ground, and there's sort of a sickening crunch as you can see that you've broken most of the servo systems. This robot, the one that you just hit, is still alive or functioning, though it seems to be completely incapable of getting itself up. You seem to have sort of damaged the hydraulics that it's using in its arms to lift itself up, and now it's just kind of rolling on its face in the dirt right now. And it is the only one left as a point of reference for Iggy and Ghost, who still technically have turns if they want to do something.
By all means, newbie.
All right. I'm going to, we need some information, and these things might know something. I'm gonna try and interface with it at any level, if it's possible to do that, to try and figure out if they're related to it. I have a sneaking suspicion they're coming from the Ebbinghaus Neuroscience Lab, so I want to at least confirm that, if anything else.
Okay. Let's see a shade roll as you try and activate, hack into this thing, interface with it to try and gain some understanding of its purpose.
Cool. And so my shade is 3, so I'll be rolling 3d6s.
Yes. Whatever your
That's
highest.
Yep, that is, 2 6s and a 5, so 6 would be the highest.
Very successful. So yeah, you link up with this thing, and your HUD just kind of crackles and crackles, and then it just turns into a green screen. And in that green, you hear through your own ears, nobody else hears this, is, "I am grim. You will be grim."
Okay. I'm gonna break off the interface and report back. All right. Are we still in some sort of initiative or combat round?
You don't technically, this thing can't fight you anymore, so we can kind of just move into free movement at this point.
Sure. I'll break the interfacing and look over at Iggy. All yours. And kind of go report to them. Yeah, no, this grim thing is an issue.
I will say that the 2 robots that were destroyed did produce 2 fuel for anybody who wants to gobble up that fuel.
I've had one, so I'll leave it to the others.
I will take 1.
I'll take 1.
Cool.
And just idly, just kind of dragging the flame blade along the ground, just flick of the wrist, take the head of the robot off. So,
as far as I can tell, this grim thing took over whatever is making these would you call them constructs?
Yeah, they're mechanical construct frames that for they do manufacturing purposes or things like that.
Cool. Then yeah, it's almost like there's a virus. I figure if I had stayed interfaced for too long, it would have taken over my own mech. So whatever it took over was invasive, and I don't know. Could be related. Might be the reason why we can't get anything out of Ebbings.
Yeah, I don't like that.
All right. Did everyone update your malware? I don't want anyone else interfacing with these.
Top of the line.
Malware? Is that... I don't... That sounds vaguely familiar. I think I clicked a box at some point. I might have X'd out of it. I don't know. Was that important?
Right, well, that's incredibly disconcerting. And
I'm just razzing you.
yeah, that's perfect time to do it. You have a salt shaker on the back of your head, right?
Hey, fuck you.
While they're kind of bantering, I would like to find one of these destroyed constructs and try to see if any of them have a relatively intact arm, just so I can maybe take it to inspect the weapon systems on it.
Yeah, there's definitely one that would have a mostly intact arm, especially the one that only had its head crushed and that was thrown. That's, for the most part, the rest of the body is in good shape, that you would be able to kind of dismantle the arm to do whatever you want with it. And yeah, Ghost, as after you kind of give your recap, you do notice like you get like a ping from your HUD that says like there's a program running in the background.
Oh no, I don't like that. I don't like that. Okay, Control Alt Delete. I'm gonna try and stop this where before it gets too bad. Is there some sort of like exe that I should be looking for, or
Your HUD is like, your system is powerful enough that it noticed the threat and is able to detect it. And since you got 6s on the previous interface, like this won't be a lingering problem, but it confirms your suspicion that if you do mess with these things and it doesn't go well, that they can linger in a way that might not be noticeable. But your system is fast enough, especially yours, modern enough to just like erase it. Just shows, hey, just so you know, this thing was here. We've killed it for you.
yes, the firewall.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got Norton and McAfee. Look at you.
All right, cool. So then, yeah. I just as a warning, don't let them touch you or get really into your suit. It is you might end up being part of the Grim. But this is not really the mission. Who knows? Maybe it's gonna show up later at the neuroscience lab.
Hey,
Well,
any way of finding out anything out, like how many more of these things might be out there, or
Probably not. I mean, all I got was hey, you're Grim now. But then I said no.
good? Yeah, proud of you. No,
Yeah,
no
so-
peer pressure.
Yeah, be on the lookout. I mean, I'm gonna assume that there's more. There's a lot of there's just a lot of unclaimed tech out here. I see
keep
we
your pulse
press on.
clean. Let's keep going.
Cool. So we see you all kind of make your way further down into the dusk. I assume Sergey probably takes the point as the Voyager spark. This is his time to shine in terms of the pathfinding and finding the spots. And yeah, after some time traveling, Sergey, you find the location. It like maps up with, it links up with the Voyager report that you had before. And the four of you find yourselves looking at a distance from the Ebbinghaus Neuroscience Lab. And once again, you find a singular figure sort of off in the distance. This one is standing in front of the lab, waiting for you. But this one is actually actively waving at you. And you hear from the distance, "Welcome, welcome."
Are we shooting first this time, or just like?
Does the silhouette resemble the kind of constructs that we encountered earlier?
No, this is different. It's definitely humanoid, but it doesn't have maybe the same sort of bulky, rigid form that the constructs had.
Sergey, you picking up on anything different?
This one seems more human-like. Movements are more fluid. Perhaps a more advanced model.
Hasn't said anything about being Grim.
Not
Daisy
yet.
waves back.
Yeah, and then you get like a really emphatic, oh, good. Hello. Please come.
All right, I'm down, but I reserve the right to toast anything.
That's fine. You stay in the back. Yeah, Iggy's very aware that Ghost, that the Scorch is essentially like a MacBook. It runs really well. It's new and flashy. It doesn't get viruses, but it's also incredibly fragile.
Yeah.
It's an iPhone.
You drop that thing once, and it's like, well, it's time to get a new one.
Yeah.
That's
Another
very good.
big sigh
very-
from
yeah, that's
Daisy,
very fair.
who steps forward towards the front.
Buddy system. You too.
Okay. So yeah, as you two close the gap, this person, like, they wait for you to start coming, and then they start walking towards you as well. They're not like constantly waving anymore. They're just kind of walking with their arms by their sides. And as they get closer, you recognize that this is a human being that's coming towards you. It's not one of the constructs that you had fought before. This individual, he looks on the kind of younger side from what your HUDs can kind of pick up from the distance that you're at. The thing that is most obvious about them is that they are wearing the kind of clear sign clothes of the raiders that live out in the dusk. There's a number of factions of raiders that live out in the dusk that like constantly are bombarding the city that you live in. They're a nuisance, and this is a raider that is just kind of like excitedly coming to talk to you. And so they begin to close the gap. I guess I'll just ask if you do anything as a result before they like come to talk to you.
So I'm gonna kind of observe like the layout of this facility. Are there hours that people can like possibly like look at us from?
Yeah, it's actually like a really pretty nondescript building. It's built in the like the old brutalist architecture, so it's truly looks like just a big block, a cinder block in the middle of the dusk. It's very nondescript, and it seems to be a singular story building as well. So there's not like multiple levels where there could be like lookout nests or anything like that. There are windows up on the front of it. It's hard to tell from the distance because there's no light coming from inside whether or not there's figures in the windows. But if there was anybody watching, that would pretty much be the only place people would be able to have like an eye on you. So are you gonna like approach this person?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so they come walking towards you, and they've been kind of like walking hurriedly towards you in excitement. And as they get close to you, they look up, and for the first time, you see their face properly, and their eyes glow green. And they smile at you, and they say, "Hi, I'm Grim. Why don't you come on in?" And we cut to black, and I think we go to a break on that.
Ooh, I like it.
Ooh.
Have a
Good thing we cut to black.
We will see you all in 5 to 10 minutes. Hydrate, pet your pets.
Do the things.
Do all the things, and we will see you shortly. And we're back. I don't have anything quippy for that. Just, we're back.
We did it.
It's us.
Well, welcome back to the Grim. So where we last left our Sparks, you had found the Ebbinghaus Neuroscience Lab. You were greeted by an enthusiastic individual at the front who is dressed in the sort of attire that you've typically seen in raiders, some of the sort of broken off factions of humans that go messing with the cities that you typically have to go like scare away. And this one, as they approached you, looked up with glowing green eyes and said, "Hi, I'm Grim. Come on in." And we see him, and he's just gesturing back towards the lab, like, "Come on."
Kind of giving this guy a look over. Do I see any like cybernetic enhancements on him? Like any visible like technology that could have been infected by this virus?
Yeah, you don't see any like tech readings on him from, especially compared to the things that you saw before. Like, he doesn't seem to have anything on him.
All right, so I'm gonna speak on a closed channel to the others. This is not good. It appears that this Grim can also infect organic material.
No, we still need to get inside there, and this is one way to do it without a fight. Assuming we're going to have to fight our way out.
I have been pulling up on my HUD since this person seems to be currently non-hostile. I've just been pulling up like my pay grade and like the details there. Just checking for.
Yeah, this seems to be in line with maybe a typical mission that you would go out on.
Okay, I say we go in, but just be on your guard, and I'll open up one of the torch claws. I've now decided it's a claw, and then like a small mote of flame just kind of like emanates from it, and I looking at this individual, right? Like any sign of hostility, it's getting punched in the face, like a fire punch in the face. But all right, we should go.
You should probably put that out before we go in. There's a lot of kind of fragile technology in there, and I wouldn't want anything to kind of go off.
You know, Ghost, that's actually a pretty good point.
Fine.
Wonderful.
I'm just picturing like Doc Ock arms coming out of Ghost.
Kind of. When you look at it, when I looked at the art, I was like, "Ooh, Doc Ock."
Well, shall we?
Lead the way.
All right. And he kind of excitedly turns around and starts walking towards the front door.
On the closed comm, Daisy's just gonna say, "We're getting integrated, aren't we?"
Not if we can help it.
As long as that's not the plan.
I just got this suit. God.
And you see he kind of grabs the big double doors and opens them up in like a big grand flourish, like just throws them back and turns and looks at you like, "Welcome to the Ebbinghaus Neuroscience Lab."
Does it look impressive?
It's completely pitch black behind him. Like you can't see anything inside. He's just excitedly standing in front of the doorway.
Well, he's got style.
Reminds me of old 20th century movie, Willy Wonka.
Daisy's
Although I do not think this is Chocolate Factory.
It could be. You don't know. I mean, it says neuroscience lab, but anything could be in there. Don't know till we get in. She's just gonna keep walking.
Yeah. Inching forward. Not in the same way that the claw opened up as a mote of flame. It's more, they ignite, but more to give light and vision, at least to the immediate surroundings.
Yeah, he notices that you sort of have lit up the place, and he goes, "I'm so sorry. I forgot you all don't know your way around here." And kind of goes over to the door, like, or to the wall, and starts like fidgeting around for things, and then flips a switch, and the like you see these lights sort of like kind of in a long row light up this hallway that you find yourselves in. And he looks at you all and he goes, "Like I said, welcome to the Ebbinghaus Neuroscience Lab. I'm Grim. It's really, really nice to meet you."
All right, Grim, what's the big idea? What's going on here? Why hasn't anyone been able to read anything about this place?
How are you spelling meat?
How am I what?
It's fine. It's fine.
Ignore her.
Oh, a joke.
Good question.
Very good. I'm still learning those. So yes, the lab, it only recently started back up. So, you know, the reason you haven't noticed it is because we've only just begun the work.
Who is we?
Grim.
What is the work?
Grim.
Grim, do you have like a brain or something, like a central like location that, you know, interfaces with? We saw your dudes a couple miles back.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, did you saw some of Grim out there?
We did. Are you the first Grim, or are you just a Grim?
No, it's really hard to say what the first Grim is necessarily. I mean, that's a really hard thing to nail down. I'm pretty sure I'm not the first Grim, because there were other people here when I got here, but who's to say, right?
Right.
So I thought I'd maybe kind of walk you around a little bit, introduce you to the lab, you know, show you where you might be staying, and then we can kind of get started with things.
Back up several spaces.
He
what would we
literally walks back a little bit, like, okay.
Literalisms, love it. What would we particularly be working on?
Well, that's the best part. You don't have to do anything. Grim will do all the work for you.
So why would we be staying here then if we're not doing anything?
You can see he's really puzzling that over. Like he doesn't understand the question or doesn't understand exactly the problem with the situation and why what you're describing doesn't make sense. And he just kind of looks at you and goes, I think it's just easier if I show you around and you get to meet Grim.
I thought you were Grim.
I am Grim.
Then we have met Grim.
Yes, and you met Grim outside too, and you're gonna meet Grim inside, and Grim will meet you inside.
No. You can show
And
us
he
around.
looks at you, Ghost, and he goes, "You've met Grim."
Yeah. You're right, I have. Sure.
So you get it.
Lead the way.
All right. Sorry, Iggy, I didn't mean to cut you off. Were you saying?
No, you're fine. That fit very well into trying to reason with this, by all means.
Perfect.
On a close, would it be possible on a close to one record and send back a feed?
You can record stuff, but out in the dusk, you can't send stuff back to base because the dusk has so much interference and shifts. So all you will have is a local recording until you get home.
Great. I will do recording and I will say, listen, if anything goes wrong, we've got some. I'm recording whatever's happening, so we can bring it back.
Well, someone will bring it back. That's the nice thing about these suits. They tend to survive even when we don't.
They do.
Oh yeah.
So this individual kind of starts walking you down, and they point to a portrait at the kind of start of this hallway, and he goes, "This is Ebbinghaus. The whole lab is named after him. He is kind of a big deal around here. I don't really get the details. I didn't study old Earth history or anything like that. But what you need to know about Ebbinghaus is that his kind of big contribution to things is about forgetting things. He really understood how people forget things. And that became sort of the whole focus of this neuroscience lab, is about memories and how we forget things with time and if we can do anything about that. So yeah, we can kind of just thank Ebbinghaus here for all the work that we do here." And he kind of continues on and points to one portrait after another of like scientists or directors of this lab and the various contributions that they had in the research that was done here. And it all is basically focused on, in the beginning, about the way that our memory works in our brains. How does it work? How do we store things? How do we recall things? How do they fade with time or become distorted? And then eventually there's sort of a shift in towards like the more neuroscience side, where there's like cybernetics or the ideas of like uploading consciousness into like a cloud entity of some kind, and how we might be able to upload memories up into a place and then re-download load them into other places. And he's just going on and on about all of these things. And he gets to the end of the hallway and he goes, "So that's the history of the lab. As you can tell, we do a lot of really important work here, but it's been a long time since we've done work, so we got to get back to it."
And how do we as Sparks fit into this whole equation?
So, Spark, that's the word you use.
That's not the word you would use.
I don't know what you are.
And when you say you mean Grim.
Well, of course.
Okay.
How old is Grim?
How old?
Yes.
I don't know. How, like old? Like pre-Earth old, I suppose? or pre Nova event, old Earth.
So when you talk about memory, it's more like one collective memory, not like individual pockets of memory.
See, like, it depends on who you're talking to, and which iteration of Grim that we're talking about, which kind of part of the cycle we're in. Sometimes it's about maintaining a collective memory. Other times it's about having just more of like a singular memory that works in multiple spaces. It really just kind of depends on how Grim feels at the moment. Anyway, I should show you to your quarters.
You sure about that? You don't want us to meet Grim right away? No, none of that?
Oh, I just assumed you were tired. You are like, blood and tissue in there, right?
On a good day.
Yeah, so I just, I assumed you were tired. But if you're good, we can chat right now.
I mean, are we good? Are we fine? I kind of don't want to get trapped. Close, I kind of don't want to get trapped in these rooms, separated.
I have no objections to meeting Grim.
Do we?
Get in, torch the place, get out. Like that's really where I'm going with here. Don't give him any opportunity to separate us. He'll take over one of our bodies.
He's just staring at you, like, with a smile on his face this whole time, like...
Look at animatronic.
Was that on a closed channel there, Ghost, or...
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to double check.
I said closed channel, right?
Okay.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I mean, no time like the present, and quicker we get in, the quicker we get out. Hopefully, we're getting out, right? That's still the plan.
That's still the plan, yeah.
Okay, I hate to
But
keep
should
double
objectives
checking
come
the
first?
plan, but like, well, getting out with this is the mission objective, right?
It is.
Becoming the
I'm
Grim.
just saying, let's not torch the place before we figure out what we need to do. Alright. Everybody, and break.
Yeah.
Are you
hey,
all okay, by the way? You just kind of stood there for, like, a long time.
Yeah.
It's a side effect of being meat suit.
Are you tired? I can take
No,
you to your rooms.
Hey.
It takes time for us to make decision.
I get that. I will help with that.
I'm sure.
Yeah, that's probably going to be fine. Oh god, I'm still in the closed channel. Why didn't anyone tell me I was still in the closed channel? Hey, Grim. Can I call you
Hi.
Grim? Hi.
Of course.
How?
Can I call you Grim?
I'd really rather you didn't. At least at this point, let's ease into that if we could. There's a question, if that's okay. Maybe two questions.
You love questions here.
Oh, good. Great. How many, Grimlings would you say there are in this building? Like, I know there's, Grim. Like, you're all Grim, right? One big happy Grim. But then there's you as, an entity wandering around being the Grim. How many, Grim entities would you say?
Well, the most recent excursion brought in 6 more, so I think that puts us at least 10.
It's a good number. Admirable.
But it depends on the quality of what was brought in and whether or not it's ready to be part of the Grim. But you would all round us out to, a good 14. It's not a great number, but it's an acceptable number.
And does 6 newly added, does that match up with any of the reports that we've gotten so far about Ebbinghaus?
No, there's no like link up with missing anything or anything like
Got
that.
it. Okay. Just checking. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't have had reports from like the raider groups or anything like that, though, right?
Yeah, they would have no interest in talking to you. So if it's all raider stuff, you wouldn't know about it. So I could take you down to the lab. We can kind of get this whole thing going. You know, that sounds good to me. Now, you know, before we get down there, I should probably ask, are we doing sort of like a combo deal, like a 2-for-1, where you and the Spark, you said, right? You and the Spark are you together, or are we turning 4 into 8?
Sparks cannot operate on own, so you will need us.
Okay, we'll do it as a combo deal. We can do that. Wonderful. All right, well,
Very unsettling. Sure, let's do it.
all right, well, let's go. And he kind of excitedly starts going down a hallway towards the lab. And you have to, like, he gets to an elevator and he pushes the button for the elevator and he kind of just sits there waiting, walks in, looks at you, and he goes, well, come on in. We got to go down a little ways.
What is weight capacity of elevator?
You know, I was never trained that.
Teasy shifts uncomfortably.
You know, he looks around and he goes, we move a lot of heavy stuff around here. I assume we're probably okay. And then he kind of like his head kicks back for a second, and he looks at you and the eyes are brighter and he goes, we'll be fine.
Very well.
Yeah, we pile in.
Just walk onto the elevator.
So it's a large sort of like freight elevator, but it's still with 4 Sparks in there and this guy. It's cramped. And we just have like a really long elevator sequence. You know, it takes a long time for this old elevator to get down. We all get to kind of sit here in awkward silence. You know, the Grim will just kind of sit there and nod along. We'll look at each of you from time to time.
His hand is just like itching on one of the blade hilts, but just like, this is enclosed space. Only one of them.
Mm.
I think with the awkward silence, after the first few moments, Daisy's gonna flip on, I think for working on her Spark, she's got like just a little like cheap outside speaker source, and she's gonna flip on some music.
Get some music playing out of this little speaker, some
Yeah.
elevator music.
And it just makes it more awkward. Like, it does not help at all.
Right. Halfway we go through in silence, the other half the speaker just kind of kicks in, and like you can see the person is surprised at first and he goes, oh, that's interesting. That could be, I could understand why that would be right for this situation. It's not for me, but I get it. And then eventually the doors kind of ping open into a large lab space. It's a massive room. In this room, we see a number of tables, like slabs, like just metal sheet tables, spaced evenly across a long distance. On top of these tables are various mechanical frames, similar to the frames that you had seen out in the field, and then also raiders, who, as far as you can tell, are like strapped down to these tables. So you see 6 of these raiders, and then a handful of other of these mechanical frames that are not, the mechanical frames are not strapped down to the tables. From each of these tables, you see a long wire that is going, plugging into the sort of the back of the neck, rough neck location of a robotic frame, as well as the raiders themselves. And all these wires are going back to a large a large screen, and you can see sort of a large old computer system at the back of the room. And the screen itself is just a sort of sickly green color, and it's just glowing. And occasionally it like flashes, and when it does, you see this sort of like pulse of green energy that goes through the wires, and each of the bodies like kicks for a second, and then it like goes back to a relaxed state. And he looks at you and he goes, "So this is where the magic happens. Of course, it's not magic, but you get it."
Interesting. And so, you know, the bodies there, they're fine, right? They're not. They're still alive, right?
Well, yeah, of course. What would I do with a dead body?
And they agreed to this procedure.
I don't understand.
All right, different question. Would they still be alive if they weren't hooked up the way they are?
Oh, no. No.
Mm-hmm. And out of curiosity, where is your power source for all this? This is quite an operation.
I mean, you don't really need to worry about that, right? Like, for now, we just got to get you on one of these tables. You know, we'll clear out some of them. You know, we'll make sure that you all can kind of lay together. I get that it can be a little scary, a little spooky. You can all
I'm
lay
just
together.
concerned I didn't get the full tour.
Oh, You know, no one's ever asked about that.
I thought that was part of the orientation process to be part of Grim. I'm just not feeling as welcome as I thought I might be.
Wow,
It's a historic building. I mean,
I never really thought about it that way, but you're right. That would not be very fair to not give you the full tour before you sort of became part of things. Okay. I guess let's go on a tour for a little bit, because this cycle is going to take a little bit longer anyway to finish up. That'll give this time for the cycle to finish. When we're done with the tour, you'll meet your new friends, and then we can get you started.
on the internal private channel, hey, do we feel good about leaving 6 potential, you know, what do we call them? Bogeys or whatever?
Victims.
Yeah, okay,
Said they were
victim.
dead if we disconnected them.
Well, if we have to fight them, they're going to be dead anyway. So, do we want to have to fight them? I'm just floating the idea out there. I'm not saying just murder them. That seems not great. Performance review.
What if
You know.
one of us?
Assuming we can shut down power source, perhaps life support will fail as well.
I mean,
So
or we could
what if
cure
one of
them.
us breaks off?
I
So
do
you
not
have to go to the
understand.
bathroom.
I think
It doesn't understand biological things.
Yeah, I think the Grim in the meantime is doing like like pointing out things in the lab that are not especially important, like various supplies. Like here's all these beakers that we keep. So like this part of the tour is completely unimportant, but they're focused on like I gotta tell you about this. So like doesn't really notice that you're all in like a doesn't just kind of sit there while you talk to each other, but they're like you gotta look at this and look at this.
As far as I'm concerned, they're goners already. I hate to say it, but they weren't part of the mission.
They're not part of the mission.
So, are we waiting until they grimify? Or, because otherwise, look, I'm not that great at math, but it feels like we've got 4 Grims. Or if we wait, we have 10.
I see what you're saying. Let me see what I can do about that. And can I sneakily unplug them as we go on this tour?
You can certainly try.
Okay.
Are you telling us or signaling to us what your plan is? Because
Oh yeah, I'll signal them just like to y'all, just like maybe I just take care of that now. Just
yeah, okay. Hang on. I'm gonna find if there's like some sort of table or something that doesn't have anything like super important on it, but maybe that current Grim is pointing to.
Yeah, maybe distract them.
I'll lean on it and then just like with my suits, just like break. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh gosh.
The work. The work.
I just, this thing's a little, it's not meant for, detail. I'm so sorry.
We can fix that,
Yes, it seems like simple fix. Here, let me try. I'm gonna just like reach for it and like try to like pop it back into place with like my mech's hand.
You're trying to pop the table back into place?
Yeah, but like I'm like making a show of it.
Oh, okay,
So,
yeah.
like, ideally,
Like a
I would like
distraction.
push it enough that it goes the other way, so now it's like dented from the bottom.
Right.
And maybe like I'll keep trying to help so that like I kind of
Yeah.
keep messing it up for like.
Yeah. So he's just like, oh no, we.
And so yeah. So while that's happening, I'd like to sabotage whatever's happening to the organics.
Okay, let's have a shade roll to see if you can kind of like, first of all, like, make sure that you know what you're doing and do it in a way that you wouldn't get noticed.
Okay. Shade. That was clutch. It was like rolling around a 1 and a 2, and then it landed on a 6.
Excellent. Yeah. So you're going for like one of the like closest humans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you find the plug, like your squad is kind of putting up enough of a distraction that you can just you're just like pulling it out, right? You're just trying to sever. Yeah. So you just unplug it, sever the connection, and the body, which had this sort of shallow breathing, just stops breathing once you unplug it.
Okay, that's 1 down. Sorry, man.
And he, eventually the Grim is like, you know what, we can worry about the table later. It seems like we need to make some adjustments anyway. I think we should kind of get started with the process since, I really want to give you the tour. You'll get the tour eventually, right? And I just worry that we might mess things up a little bit.
I mean, what's the hurry? Like, there's so much to see and do and write home to mother about.
Who?
Don't worry about it.
He's old of saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, not a historian, didn't really study old Earth, so don't know this mother person. Well, okay. I mean, I can give you the quick one. Basically, there's the main console back there. Here's our system where we get everybody kind of into the Grim. Back there, we keep the power supply, keeps the whole place running. That's pretty much it.
That's all Iggy has to hear. Okay. He indicated generally where the power source
Yeah.
is.
So
There's
a door, and then he kind of gestures. He was like, yeah, that's where we keep that.
good enough. All right. Yeah, Iggy is going to go ahead and just... I'm... Let's see if there's anything particular that can end this guy in 1. Equal to myself. Okay, yeah, I'm going to just supernova. Choose a single enemy at any range, run up to them, deal harm equal to your sun. So that's 4 damage.
I should say, supernova only happens when you die. It's
Oh,
your
is it?
death
Okay,
move.
okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay.
No, it's okay.
Never mind. Not going to choose that then.
You want me to take you out, Iggy?
I mean, one of your friends could just quickly snap your neck if you want.
Reach into the
Come on,
cockpit.
if I was going to ask anybody, I'd ask Kappa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh
Okay.
yes, Delta maneuver. All right.
Okay, then I will dash, since I think that has the potential for the most amount of damage. So, just pretty much driving the blade directly through him as quickly as possible.
Yeah, so he's gesturing around, and then suddenly we as the audience see the sword kind of come up from his chest. He kind of gets lifted off the ground momentarily and slides off. The green fading from the eyes as the body kind of lays there. You notice that like no blood or anything comes from the body. It's just like it just drops in a heap.
Ooh.
And
because it was cauterized.
you got a hot sword. The screen in the back of the room kind of like flares up for a second, like, and we see the pulses of the currents of the wires start to like go faster and faster into the various bodies that are on the tables.
Can I bull rush the screen?
Sure.
I would like to just smash into it as hard and fast as I can.
Yeah. So you can easily clear the room and just activate your bull power and just smash into the console. It, kind of there's an explosion of sparks and debris as components of this large panel computer gets blasted by the impact. The screen kind of flickers for a moment and it goes out. And then there's just kind of like a singular green dot in the middle of the screen as if it's a giant black eye that is staring at you with a green pupil, looking down at you. And you see the dot like start to look down as if it is an eye looking down at you. But you did really mess up that computer.
How's like the pulsing in the cables looking? Has it slowed down or is it still going?
It has slowed down. It did not stop entirely, but it was going like vroom, vroom, and now it's vroom, vroom.
All right. If there is time, I would like to try and unplug another one of the raiders.
Yeah, you can make a moon roll and see how quickly you can kind of just like see how many of these you can unplug at once.
I have pretty good moon.
You are.
Voyager, I have 4.
Yeah, that's a big moon.
Yeah, big old moon.
A big
It's
old
a real
moon.
big moon.
That is 4, 5, and 2 6s.
All right, so yeah, you just go like dashing down the line. You're pulling one after another. Even though you're an old Voyager model, you're still a Voyager Spark. They are designed for speed, and we just see you. What are you focusing on? Because you got a 6 here. Do you want to like take care of the humans, or do you want to take care of the robots?
I'm gonna take out the humans just because from what the Grim we were talking to told us, because if they're not hooked up, they can't function. So I'm basically like pulling the plug on them and like taking them off life support.
Okay. Yeah, so you're a fast-moving spark. You just unplug the humans, and they all just like the chests that have been shallow breathing just kind of collapse on themselves, and they lay there motionless. Ghost, you're the last to go in this turn. Everybody has had a chance to kind of take an action here.
Yes.
What would you like to do?
So, the Grim that is now a heap on the floor pointed out was it a back room where the power was, or like a behind something? I don't know.
Yeah, he indicated to like a door that's along one of the sides that leads like it's got like the big kind of like don't enter like symbol on it, like the electric volt, like don't go in here.
Okay. I'd like to move in that direction, however long I need to. Maybe if I can get in the door, I will.
Yeah, you would be able to get to into the door if you wanted to. It is locked.
Oh, it's locked?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'd like to if it's a knob, I'd like to melt the knob, or like melt the hinges at some point. With I don't know. Do I need to use an ability for this, or?
It sounds like a shade roll. If you're trying to like get a focused burn rather than just like I'm gonna melt the whole door. Like if you're just trying to get like the knob or hinges, like you're concentrating. Let's have a shade roll to see if you kind of like don't blow the door and everything behind it on fire.
Great. 3.
Okay. So you're trying to do this concentrated burn, and you get one of the hinges off, and then you feel this tight sensation at your feet, and 2 of the cables that have been coming out of the front panel have wrapped themselves around you, and they're coiling up you, and they have like plugged themselves into the top parts of your shoulder now.
Sick.
And you feel like your system's starting to shut down. You get a staticky look on your screen.
This is cool.
As you do that, you did kill the one Grim, so I will generate his drop, and he did make some fuel for whoever wants a little bit of fuel.
Does anyone want a health instead?
Oh yeah, that's.
I think we're all good on health.
Okay, cool.
I wouldn't.
Then yeah, a fuel it will remain.
I wouldn't mind a fuel if no one else needs it.
Go for it.
Yeah, take it.
Cool. So we see Daisy absorb the fuel, and then the 4 robotic frames that are in the room, they kind of all sit up. Their legs are still on the table, but they just kind of like sit now at a 90-degree angle with their torsos up. The eyes all light up, and the pupil on the screen is still looking down at Daisy, but all of the frames now stand up, and they begin to circle around Archer because, you know, Sergey has run into the middle of them, unplugging things, and they're now like 4 of them circling around, reaching out to grasp and bind you. As they do so, you also start to notice the coiling cables on the ground are like slithering along the ground, looking for more people to snag. But I hand it back over to the Sparks to see what you do.
I would like to, if I can go first.
Sure.
I would like to lift my helmeted head up towards the glowing green eye and just say, hey, I'm the one you want. Do your worst. And use my over here feature. No. Yes, over here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when you do over here, you are shouting a challenge to the room, and everybody has to focus on you instead of all of your allies. So you say that, the eye focuses on you, and you see, like, Sergey, you're being surrounded by these things. They all stop in place, and they all turn to look at Daisy, and the coils all stop in place, and they begin to kind of, like, avert their gaze in the direction of your warden friend. You've got their attention, absolutely. What do you all do now, knowing that they are looking at your warden friend?
Going with the mission. The power source is the priority, so I would like to essentially make an attack against the door. I don't know if this would be a sun roll or an actual attack, but essentially trying to, like, Wolverine my way through a metal door, just cut it long ways.
At this point, you won't need to do, like, an action because Ghost had already kind of, like, half burned the door off, that you would be able to kind of just shoulder press your way through. The question is, like, you see Ghost is sitting there with these things in his shoulders. Are you just kind of, like, running past into the power room?
I don't know how, like, what an action necessarily is, but if I see Ghost getting connected, he would try to, Iggy would try to slice through those cables, and then in conjunction with it, if that was an option, then shoulder press his way through the door.
Nice.
So, yeah, just bull running through the door, slice with the shoulder being what actually hits the door itself.
Let's get a pyre roll as you kind of, like, dash forward. You're trying to, like, slice and smash through the door here.
Sun roll?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Pyre's
Okay.
the other game that I I played last night.
Nice.
I am a pirate. Hey, wow. 3 1s and a 6.
Ooh. Okay. That was
my
close.
Mothman dice.
So yeah, you go dashing forward, and you know, Ghost, you have this staticky screen, and then suddenly it kind of cuts clear as the cables get cleanly cut through by the sword. I think there's still like the 2 ends that are just kind of sticking in your shoulders, but like the rest of the wire has like flopped down to the ground. And yeah, Iggy, you smash your way through, and you find yourself in a power room. You know, I don't know how tech savvy necessarily Iggy is, but it's a number of different generators that are all linked up with one another, and the room is just like loud, hot, and humming as it is just in overdrive running, trying to power this facility. So that's what you see in there. Ghost or Archer, what would you like to do?
Archer, did you have anything?
from where I am, can I see inside the room that was just opened?
Yeah, because everybody's looking at you. You hear the smashing, and you look over, and you can see the power room, and you can see Iggy standing in there with the kind of like fiery sword.
Cool. I would like to mark the generator that he's looking at, as well as the closest, I guess, like construct that is approaching Warden. And then I will use my Seek ability and fire a Seeker Dart onto the generator, so that it will take +1 harm from all sources.
Nice. So yeah, this generator has been like kind of like lit up. You're all aware of it on your HUD system. Like, smash, destroy this thing. Ghost, it is your turn.
Cool. I will remove the things out of out of my shoulders. Look around, see that things are heading towards Sugar or Daisy in over in that direction, and take all the torch claws, drive them into the ground in front of me, and fire a column of flame underneath the ground and erupting around the enemies as they draw into close range around Daisy, using my erupt ability.
Nice. So we see
The marked target is the one that's taking the 3 harm, and then 1 to anyone close to them.
Yeah, so there's one that's kind of at the central point of the column that will take the brunt of it, and then anybody around it will take additional, will take that kind of tertiary damage. And so you see all of them get like lit up aflame.
I should clarify, Seek only works on 1 marked enemy.
Yeah.
So the
okay.
1 marked enemy is the power source. That
The
is
power source. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Then yeah, whatever is central to the to the most collection of frames, coils.
Yeah, so the column will still do 3 to whoever like you kind of hit at the central point. So they still take 3 damage. You see one of these frames get just like incinerated and melt into slag immediately from the flame, and then the others kind of like get knocked back, and you can see that they've not caught flame necessarily, but they're like, you can see that there's maybe like lingering flame kind of like flickering out across their chrome, and whatever exposed wiring is on them is kind of like quickly burning away.
Are they like glowing a little bit?
Oh yeah, they're like red hot, and you know, across this red hot, you see like now this really bright green set of eyes staring you down. So the GM turn starts, and as sort of a thing for you all to consider is, you know, with this facility, it's a destroyer recovery, and it sounds like you're going with the destroy route, right? Okay, just wanted to make sure that you knew that the other option was there just in case. But it's all up to you.
I was going to leave it open for Sergey at least to make that best decision. Yeah, the one with the moon rolls.
Gotcha.
Yeah, my task is done. The door is open.
Gotcha.
I can go home now.
Mood.
So the eye is staring at you, Daisy, and the robots themselves have been kind of like knocked back and lit aflame, but the coiling cables are they weren't part of the impact zone, and you see them kind of wrapping around you. You have like a moment of deja vu where you're like, this just happened like earlier outside, as you kind of get wrapped up by these cables around your arms and legs, but one of them snakes up and finds the port in the neck of your Spark, and you now see your screen starting to go staticky and turn green. And you don't have like the same kind of protective firewall system, and so you can see just a file being downloaded onto your Spark in this spot, and the eye is just like, it's like the eye of Sauron. It's just staring at you with like as best as it can, this like loathing and rage in a green eye that stares at you. So that's what they do. The one frame that did explode did create a fuel for anybody who particularly needs it, and then I hand it back over to the Sparks to take your turns.
Hey, Ghost. Hey, Ghost. Got any of that sweet firewall you could share?
Do I
Pal?
see?
Your pal Daisy. You remember
I
Daisy,
see-
right?
Do I see where the cable is coming from that has inserted?
Yeah, it's all coming in from like that panel, that front panel that Daisy had smashed up. Like it seems to be just going into somewhere underneath it.
Oh, okay. Then, in that case, I'm gonna move over to Daisy and yank it out. Then.
Okay, you want to just kind of try and rip it out?
Yeah,
Okay.
Stop the process. It seemed to work with the two that were attached to my shoulders. So
Right.
I don't have a sweet sword, so I'm gonna try and yank it out.
Okay, let's have a sun roll as you try and just like tear this thing out because it has latched itself in pretty firm here.
Okay.
Oh, I could.
1 and a 5.
Okay. The 5 is a success. So like it's resisting you. You can see that this cable is a little bit different. Like it's hard for you to tell on your own shoulders, but you can see that it links in and that it like deploys these little claws that drill themselves into
Ooh, that's
like location. So it's like a barb system that holds into place. And so like you thought you just unplug it and then like Daisy's shoulder kind of gets pulled a little bit and you have to kind of like twist it and like rip the barbs out and then take it out. So Daisy, you got this like really gnarly scratched up hole kind of up near your shoulder neck on your right next to the salt shaker. I think it's like pouring salt onto this wound.
Perfect.
That's cool. That's funny.
But yes, Ghost has disconnected the cabling from you.
Okay. Iggy is going to. I'm gonna reflavor my hunter thing a little bit.
Yeah.
So instead of a spear, he has like a series of almost like mechanical looking daggers on like almost like a bandolier. He's gonna pull one of those, and on the hilt there's a button, and he's gonna press that. It's gonna start beeping as it ignites, and he's going to fling that at the main screen with the big eye, trying to like plant it in there. And as the beeping like starts to like increase in tempo, he is going to start phasing out of the place where he's currently at.
Yes, you are. Yeah. So we see this slicing into the front, and you begin to just is it like you just kind of like are like almost disappearing like a ghost sort of thing, or is there any kind of like tech like?
I think it probably has a lot of light to it. I
Okay,
imagine
cool.
it is almost would be even compared to a small sun collapse.
Sweet, very cool. So there's just like you all just like there's this blinding light that kind of just emerges for a moment. And, you know, you're used to it. You know that Iggy's doing his thing, his blinking thing. But as far as you know, there's a sun literally in the room for just a moment. Excellent. So yeah, your daggers make purchase. They're starting to stab into this thing, and you begin your phasing process so that you can do your cool hunter move shortly. Daisy, you're free, and Archer, the frames were like collapsing on Daisy, but the shouting effect, if I remember correctly, is still in effect until Daisy goes again. So it's all kind of up to you to decide whether or not you want them to be distracted a little longer, or Daisy can go now.
I'm gonna try something odd.
Excellent.
So I'm gonna use my swap ability and try to switch positions with the power source.
I love it.
So
I love it.
I think what happens is this panel on the side of like his waist armor opens up, and you see like these big harpoons located in it, and it fires a tow cable into the floor and out, and like punctures into the power source, and then one on the other side fires out and like pierces into the wall, but there's no like other side. And so what happens is the one that came out from his left side detaches from himself, and then these motors inside start to spin up to retract the cable to like try to rip the power source out of the wall, while the right side one propels him towards that wall where it's coming out of.
That's awesome. So we see Sergey just getting like zipped across the room, and we hear this like wrenching sound as the generator gets ripped out of the wall, and just like starts to come flying, and normally it would like smash into Iggy, but that won't be a problem here in just a second, thankfully. But the second the generator gets pulled out, the whole room goes dark. Like all the lights and everything go out, except for the green eye. It remains like lit up and is staring down at Daisy still. But yeah, we see Sergey switch places. The generator is out. The room is dark. As far as you can tell, you've pulled the plug. But Daisy, it's your turn.
What is left of... Because I crushed a chunk of this.
Mm-hmm.
What is left of this, like...
It's a massive, like, it's
old school...
It's an old school computer, but like mixed with the new tech. So like, you know, the old computers that literally like were like cabinets that filled rooms sort of thing. It's like that scale, but it's not, it's more powerful than those old punch card computers, but it's at that scale. And it just fills this back wall, this panel computer.
Like all RAM.
It's just so much RAM.
Yeah. I feel like this would make some pretty good slag. But that's not really my forte, so I am going to just reach in to as close to the heart of it as I, in all my expert knowledge, can, and I'm going to just crush it, or parts of it.
Yeah,
so and just out of spite, I'm gonna toss those pieces like out into the room.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, so you activate your crush and throws. You just fist goes in, you crush a bunch of stuff, you rip out a bunch of components. The eye is like flickering now. It's not a solid green dot anymore. It's like fading in and out. It's like opening and closing as if a pupil was dilating. It's having a hard time focusing as you just throw these components across the room. The 3 robots that are still in the room are like frozen in place. Their eyes also are like in and out, in and out. And the turn for the GM is just the computer goes, wait. And I will hand it off to you. The computers, I will say, the robots are non-functioning now, so it's still combat if you want to keep just like wrecking stuff, but it doesn't have to be. I'll let it all be up to you.
I really want to kill this. Oh, I really want to destroy this thing.
I know you do.
Yeah. Are we cool with that? Just out of character, are we cool with that? Okay, I got a thumbs up.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thumbs up.
Yeah, Shan, Ghost, Scorch, is gonna walk up and go, yeah, sure, let's wait a second, let's talk it out, let's cook. Sorry, I'm not in my voice. Yeah, let's wait a second, let's talk it out, let's find common ground, cover our differences, and maybe, and then he interrupts himself as he's walking up and jams all the torch claws into the hole that Daisy made and just unleashes so much blue, purple, white flame into it as using the snuff out ability that I have.
Yeah, so describe snuff out.
Target an injured enemy at any range. Right now it's close range, and they take harm equal to your shade. And so it's just the artwork shows 4 of these torches. All 4 of them are in the hole and just generating so much flame and heat as it's coming out of whatever crevices and orifices that were created in the battle.
Nice. So we see the panel just melting into slag, like the absolute heat. You know, Ghost, you had mentioned that you burn hotter than a typical scorch. So it's not even as if this is going to like light things on fire. It's just like melting away the wiring and the metal immediately. And the eye is like blinking and like fading in and out, dilating and opening and closing. And eventually it blinks out. And when it does, you hear a little beep sound, and in part of the panel that wasn't completely destroyed, you see a little thumb drive kind of emerge from the panel as the room sits in total darkness now. The eye is closed. The robots are completely shut down. They have no longer the glowing green eyes. You all sit in darkness, only lit by the glowing sword of Iggy and whatever sort of like fire is going on from all of you. You know, you're sparks. You can see in the dark, but there's this thumb drive that emerges. What do you want to do?
Really quick, I'll look over at Daisy. What? You wanted slag? You got slag.
I got slag. That's good slag.
And I'll indicate to Archer or Inferno the thumb drive.
So Spencer, remind me of the mission parameters. We were supposed to investigate the source of the energy, and then either bring it back or just...
Yeah, exactly. You were, ultimately the city prefers if tech can be salvaged to be brought back to help try and rebuild humanity. But if it becomes impossible or is too dangerous, then, the destruction of the technology is also okay so that it doesn't get into other people's hands.
All right. Then yeah, Iggy is going to take the thumb drive and just put it somewhere on the mech that isn't near like any type of data ports.
The snack drawer.
The snack drawer. Yes.
Right. You got a little fanny pack.
Yeah. It's right next to his banana chips.
Okay. Yeah. So you pocket the thumb drive. The lab the power supply is pulled out, so it's been wrenched. You could lug that back to the city and see if people want to repair it. That's up to you all. Or what do you want to do with this lab now, knowing that it's out here?
Daisy's just kind of... It's probably awkward to cross her arms as a spark,
right?
But she's doing it. Just
We can't like clap in front of her. Like the neck biceps are too big.
Yeah. But also like with her shield and everything, like it's purely just to show how like disinterested she is and like weighing in on like she's just here to guard stuff. Or
I need to
people.
show you how nonchalant I am.
Yeah.
Right. How much I just don't care.
It's a work in progress.
I think,
Sugar, do you want to carry back a massive energy source, or would you rather try to overload it, blow up the place?
I think the tech here could be salvaged. This power core, it could provide energy to our city in some fashion if it could be reverse engineered. These mechs as well, they could be used as construction work or perhaps scrap for parts to repair our sparks.
I say we go back to base and let people who are paid to worry about that stuff worry about that stuff. As far as I know, mission accomplished. I need some food.
Yeah. So I think Sergey, as a Voyager pilot, would carry like waypoint beacons. So I guess once they eventually make their way back out, he would like plant one and so that like transmit a signal to like future like scouting parties. So like, hey, this is like a resource point. There's like stuff here.
Right. Trying to anchor it in the dusk as best one can, given the nebulous nature of it. Excellent. Sweet. So we see the beacon go down, and you go make the long journey back to the city. For the folks who make those sorts of decisions will make those sorts of decisions about what will be done with the lab. I guess I should ask, Iggy, do you hand over the thumb drive when you get back?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Mission parameters. Yeah, he might even have like Sergey take like scans of the power core. Might ask Daisy to carry one of the mechs back, just in case somebody gets to it first.
Okay.
And yeah, he'll hand over the thumb drive, and he'll kind of give like everybody just pat on the back. It's well done, everyone. And yeah, as he's patting Daisy's mech on the back, he's gonna slap another decal on there.
Excellent.
The pepper shaker.
I knew
Perfect.
it. I knew it.
Ghost will also just turn in the footage along with the thumb drive. Like, hey, we learned some stuff. Be careful with this.
Yeah, I
With this
think
thumb drive.
Sergey would submit like his full like mission report. He would also turn over like his analysis of the power core, whether it could be salvaged. He would also turn over the salvaged arm from one of the mechs over to like the R&D team to see if like they can like reverse engineer like the weaponry in it, maybe like make some upgrades to like future sparks.
Yeah, so we kind of reached the end of our episode as the sparks have returned, mission accomplished. There, you're getting your debrief sort of thing. You're having a chance to finally get out of your suits and go back to like the brief moments of normal life, and the credits begin to roll, and we get that mid-credit scene here where we hear the sort of sound of like like welding and machinery work going on, and the camera is just kind of looking around a room, like a lab space. There are sort of sparks flying off of a table in the background, and it cuts to black, and in the black we see these green eyes light up, and the frame that you had brought back is lit up, and then we zoom out and we see it has been repurposed into a larger looking suit that looks a lot like a spark, and it cuts to black.
Yes.
Oh no, I think I froze.
Oh, yes.
A little bit, yeah.
We can still hear you. Maybe.
Uh-oh, yeah, I think we lost Spence.
What timing? Oh my goodness.
Dang. Wow.
Okay. Well, while we wait for Spencer to get back, I do want to thank each and every one of you for joining us for this game of Nova. Hey, Spencer, it looks like you're back.
There we go.
Maybe not. Lost him. Maybe not.
So close.
Nova is a Kickstarter.
I think I'm back this time.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. Okay.
You all had a look of shock on your faces, and then it like stayed for a long time, and I was like, it's not, are they that shocked? Oh my goodness.
It was the perfect timing. You said the last line, we reacted, and then we're like, did Spencer freeze?
Yeah, it was grim.
Yeah, we lost you like as soon as you like cut to black.
So dramatic.
Yeah. Before we go to wrap up, Spencer, did you have? I did not want to cut you off. So.
No, that was it. It just cuts to black there after we see that scene.
Wonderful cliffhanger. I've seen some of the art to kind of indicate where that might be going, and I'm very excited about it. So again, thank you everyone for joining us for this this actual play of Nova. We were using the quick rules for it, but Nova currently is a Kickstarter right now, which I highly suggest you support. This was a ton of fun. So again, I'm going to have these amazing people tell you a little bit about themselves and where you can find them. But let's go ahead and start with our honorary guest, Spencer. If you want to tell us any more about yourself, Nova, your Kickstarter, we'd love to hear it.
Sure. So I'm Spencer Campbell. I write and design games under the name Gila RPGs, Gila RPGs. That's how you can find me everywhere online. That's my website and my itch name and Twitter and everything like that. So you can find me all there. We played Nova, which is my game that's currently up on Kickstarter. The campaign runs until July 3rd, so I think that's like 9 or 10 days left in the campaign right now. And now we can talk about it. The one stretch goal that was in the game was unlocking the forbidden science sparks, and one of them is the Grim Spark, which is the necromancy theme.
Oh, that's
spark.
So cool.
So we kind of got to play the origin mission for the Grim Spark here tonight. You can see art of the Grim Spark actually up on the Kickstarter page now if you go look at that stretch goal section. Eddie York is doing the art on it. Did a really amazing job on it. He loves robots and he always plays necromancers in games, so it was like a natural fit for him to make the Grim Spark.
Phenomenal. It has like heavy like Sauron as a mech vibes. I'm deeply in love with it. Yeah.
It's pretty gnarly. It's got these like floating cable-like swords that stab into things so that you can control them. So it's a even more nefarious version of the cabling system that we saw here tonight. So
cool. So cool.
So yeah, this was Nova. It's part of the Lumen system, which is a system that I put out as an SRD a couple months ago. It's all about action-packed, rules-light, exciting, powerful games. So if you liked this and you like this system, I just want to shout out a bunch of people who are also making games using the Lumen system. You can find a whole jam for it up on itch. There's a bunch of really amazing creators out there who are doing really cool work with it, which blows my mind. Like every time somebody comes up with something, it's always a cool, new, unique spin on it. So I want to shout out all those people because they are my creative fuel. They always inspire me. And I want to thank you all for having me tonight. This was really, really, really fun. So I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
It was a fantastic time. Thank you, Spencer. So, hey, while I'm talking, and since I'm in the top left, I might as well start. Hi, everybody. I am Derek Sword. If you want to find me in more of my projects, best place is Twitter at dsword16. I am also here on Eva Sariad's channel every Saturday for Horizon's Call. It's an oceanic campaign set in the world of Damaras. It's a pirate-themed adventure, but we are taking this week off, and we're going to do a prequel game, which is using the module from DM's Guild Secrets of the Skyhorn Lighthouse, which has been very renamed Winnie and Friends, named after Eva's character. So we're going to get a little bit of a prequel story for Winnie, and we are joined by an amazing cast, including Jambo, Seth, Tiny Trees, and Kayla will be joining us as well. So definitely check that out. That is 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Eva Sariad's channel as normal Horizon call times. I'm also on Graham Cracker's channel every other Tuesday for Shards of Anarian, where I play a Null Ranger named Verban, and Graham Cracker's channel every Friday at 8 p.m. for both, where I play in Gold Chain Investigation Agency as a swampy bugbear named Griaz. And if you can't tell I love monsters, the best way to tell is I am the co-host of the podcast Monster Crush. So if you enjoy cryptids and creatures and learning about them, and also enjoy maybe smooching them or romancing a monster or two, check that out wherever podcasts are found. I will also be, last thing, I will also be on the Lady Dames Smutty Saturday this Saturday, which is Eastern Time, midnight to 3 a.m. From Saturday into Sunday, where it is Tingler Month. We will be reading some Chuck Tingle smut, so definitely check that out. I'm very excited about it. That is it for me, so I will hand it off to the lovely Kappa.
Hello. My name is Christian, but I go by Kappa in all online spaces. Both are good, both are encouraged. I had the very distinct pleasure of playing Chandelure today in the Scorch suit, call sign Ghost. If you get the reference, then you get the reference. If not, then you're not facepalming. Anyway, you can find me on Twitter at the Kappa Chris, where I nerd out about various things, mech suits, fire, all that different stuff. And all my projects are announced on there. Currently, I have 2 productions going on, streamed productions going on. Wednesdays on Kevin Kudo's channel, you can catch me on Revenge of the Crit, a D&D game skinned for the, D&D 5e game skinned for the Star Wars universe, set in between episodes 2 and 3 during the Clone Wars. That's a lot of fun. You can also catch me on Roads Uncharted, the first podcast actual play in the Genesis system, and those episodes release every single Friday, and it's a lot of fun anywhere you can find your favorite podcast. But I'm also a representative of Friends Who Roll Dice, so anything that Friends Who Roll Dice are putting out, I'll also be announcing, because I now have a hand in all of that stuff. So I think the next stream is going to be on the 29th. Don't quote me on that, but all information for Friends Roll Dice events are going to be on Friends Roll Dice on Twitter. But yeah, that's it. I think Eva's next in the lineup here. But then Eva's also the owner of the channel, so Eva can go last if she wants. So I'm not.
Eva can go last. Rack, go.
All right. Hey, I've been Rakolai or Rakolai. You can find me right here on Twitch, twitch.tv/Rakolai. I stream Destiny 2 and also Gundam building. So that's what I do here. You can also find me on Twitter at Rakolai. Quick note, it is spelled RAKO capital IAI. Reason for that is because the person who owns the Rakolai tag got their account suspended, so I can't contact them to say, hey, I'd like to use this username. So there's that. Speaking of upcoming projects, you can find me tomorrow night on the Lady Dames channel at 7 p.m. Eastern. I will be guesting on the Into the Tingleverse charity one-shot, where all of our proceeds will go towards the Trevor Project. So make sure you donate. We've got incentives set up, milestones for some really fun stuff. You get to see me play a character in the universe of the works of Dr. Chuck Tingle. Guess that Chuck Tingle.
Thank you, Rack. Eva, you can go in a second. I forgot to mention that our Saturday game is also benefiting the Trevor Project. So there are actually a lot of great charity games going on Saturday, and all of them towards amazing causes. Of course, Lady Dame, friend of the channel, has her charity game going on. Other friend of the channel, Mare, has their charity game going on. Friend of the channel, Allie, has a charity game, and we'll also be benefiting the Trevor Project. Go. There's a good place to donate your money. We don't want to say like, hey, just come here, because there's a lot of amazing people doing a lot of amazing things. So that said, Eva, I guess you can go now. Without you, we would not be here, so thank you.
Hi, I'm Eva. This is indeed my channel. Thank you all so much for joining us. Tomorrow's Friday. I keep thinking that it's Saturday because I'm very excited about Saturday. We have 2 games here. We have our finale for City of Shadows. This is what happens when you don't coordinate with your GM. It is our full finale. I don't believe we're doing a 2-parter. So that's at 8 a.m. Pacific. And then, as Derek said, at 3 p.m. Pacific, we will be having a Special Horizons call one-shot. And I get to play Winnie. Vazen is off this week and will reconvene July 4th. So that's about all I've got today. Thank you again so much to Spencer Campbell for running this game for us. It was incredible. I can't wait to get the full, what would you call it?
Release?
The full release, yes.
Thank you all so much. I really, really appreciate it. This was an absolute blast. You all were wonderful, wonderful to play with. This was really just a great, great time. Thank you.
Have a great night, everyone. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we will see you next time.